Well, that's a lot of action for the first session of a test match. We'll look back at it all on ESPN Cricket for Matchday, powered by Realme X7 5G and X7 Pro 5G. Ian Bell is here. So too, Sanjay Manjrekar. 3 wickets have fallen, 74 runs. It looked a lot worse for England when they were 3 for 30 at one stage. The fall of Joe Root, their captain. Let's get first thoughts from both these fine gentlemen. Sanjay, what have you made of that session?
Good session for India because you might think 3 wickets after watching the last test match, you would think 3 wickets in a whole session, that's far too less. But considering that we haven't seen any major discomfort for batsmen, something that for this seamers, and towards the end of that session, you could see that there is some bounce and turn for the spinners. It was generally a good pitch. So from that, when you look at it from that point of view, 3 wickets and 3 good wickets was a good session for India.
Yeah, fair enough. Isn't it like one of those hangovers after a hard night out, Belly? After Ahmedabad in the third test, 5 wickets, 6 wickets, 7 wickets in a session, just the three in this one.
I know it's a bit of a slow day so far, but I thought that, to be fair, I thought it was a really good sort of session of Test match cricket. Really, I thought Ishant Sharma, what you want to do, don't you? You want to start a Test match really well and hit a great area, big appeal up front. So they started really well. India, I thought. England were fighting quite nicely towards the end. Bairstow and Stokes a little bit of counter-attacking, put any loose balls away, which was good. But I think India will be happy. But yeah, a real good session of Test match cricket.
Let's look into the wickets first up, though. And again, the action was all as soon as Akshar Patel got the ball in hand. And we spoke of the demons in the mind, Sanjay. We spoke of the challenge facing the straight ball. And it was all on display in a matter of 2 balls.
Yeah, so bad mistake, I would say, by Sidley. I've been very kind to the batsman in the previous test match because there was nothing much they could do despite having, the right technique to counter a ball. But on this kind of a surface, as we talked before, the match began, the instinct should have been to play for the straight ball as Johnny Bairstow is doing against Akshar, because there is a little chance on this pitch at this stage for the ball to turn from that point and get off some knockback. So him playing again for a ball that would just hold its line or turn was a bad mistake. Maybe it was just instinct, seeing a left-arm spinner do this, that you're trying to cover the line where the ball is going to turn. He might look at it and say there is a slight improvement from the last test match because there was an inside edge onto the stumps, but bad mistake that from Sibley. Maybe instinctive, but an error, no doubt.
Played so well, so solid in defense in that first innings at Chennai, which seems like such a long time back, Ian.
Yeah, we talked about pre-game as well. I mean, mentally, that's what Test cricket as well. It's not just about technique, is it? As well, it's about. There's obviously a little bit there, isn't there, from the last Test match and probably last few innings. So they'll be disappointed. Someone like Dom Sibley or all the guys, they'll be working hard. They'll have put plans into place in practice, want to take it into the middle. So he'll be really disappointed, certainly with the style of dismissal, because I'm sure they would have had a huge discussion as a team, saying if we get good deliveries, caught slip, top of off, that's fine, but let's not miss the straight deliveries.
All right, let's discuss that second wicket, that of Zach Crawley then. And we discussed whether there would be an approach to try and play Akshar Patel differently. Perhaps the intent was right, just the execution wrong, Ian, regarding Crawley?
Yeah, again, it's difficult, isn't it? When you get it wrong, it's, you're there for criticism, but I don't mind the intent. I think we saw that a bit later with Stokes to Ashwin. And Bairstow. So I think a positive intent was the right thing, but you've got to balance that right with good defence as well. So yeah, when you get it wrong, you're there for criticism, but I don't mind them trying to be busy and proactive against Akshar Patel.
Sanjay, did you mind that from Crawley at all?
No, because Crawley made that attempt, I think it was fair and wasn't a bad move, because if you remember the first innings in that day-night test match, the way Crawley played, virtually all his runs, even turning it, came through boundaries. So he's a guy who can hit the loose balls. And again, credit to Akshar Patel, because this is a guy who has this beautiful knack of knowing if the batsman is charging him, what the intent of the batsman, and he can vary his length very easily. That ball also may have just gripped a little bit and not turned, but it didn't come in with the arm to make Crawley's job easier. So a batsman who has the ability to hit the boundary shots against spinners on a turning pitch, I thought it was a fair call. Execution could have been better, but I think more marks to Akshar Patel for having that sense to change his length a little bit and the ball just gripping into the pitch.
Yep, he continues to impress. It's only his third test. Looks like he's been playing for forever. Akshar Patel. England would certainly feel that way. But the big wicket came through pace, as it turns out, in this first session. And it was through Mohammad Siraj back in the side, Sanjay, and back with his tail up. It almost seems like every time Mohammad Siraj bowls, he bowls with the intent of making something happen. And he got Joe Root. Take me through what you've observed in that wicket.
He's a fantastic bowler, and I was just talking to Ian Bell before we got on air and online to do the show that there's some exciting bowling talent that's coming through. And Mohammad Siraj is one, Akshar Patel is the other, Shardul Thakur, another young seam bowler who would have made a mark in this test match as well. Not as much exciting batting talent coming through, but this is where Mohammad Siraj is good, and that's why I believe that he can be a bowler for all conditions. Now, this was a ball that was right up there. He gets the ball to swing. And I've always believed guys who have this trigger movement of going right back before the ball is bowled and then make the adjustment, start of an inning, they're always vulnerable, whether it's Joe Root or whether it's Hashim Amla or whether it's Steve Waugh of the past, anywhere that trigger movement, Shubman Gill as well. If you put the ball there just around full, and if the ball does something, you have a chance earlier on against these batsmen. Later on, of course, they make the adjustment. So it was the ideal delivery for somebody like Joe Root with the kind of trigger movement that he has.
Belly, thoughts on the Root wicket?
Yeah, well, in general, I was just wanted to say I thought that tactically India have got it spot on this morning as well. You know, they brought the left-arm spinner in early to the two opening batters, but when Root was in, that Siraj, I thought delivery was perfect. But what I really enjoyed about the Indian seamers was the intensity that they bowled at, the way they hit the pitch hard, knowing that it's not going to be a long spells, it's going to be short, sharp spells, and they ask questions up front. And I think that's one area, for someone like Joe Root, for me, we know he's our best player as spin, but actually if you're going to bowl in his first 20 deliveries at him in a test match, it's probably your seamers that you want to bowl at him. But just where that footwork's not quite as good as it can be until you get set in. So brilliant bowling, intensity was great. As I said, I thought that was that's how you want to bowl on these pitches. And England will be watching that now. I mean, they've already got Jimmy Anderson and Stokes, but I thought India's seamers were fantastic, and they exploited every little bit of anything out of the pitch. They did really well and deserved that wicket of Joe Root.
There is something about Siraj, isn't there, Sanjay? If you try and draw a map for Mohammad Siraj, how would we like to see him in India colours? We've seen him so much in RCB colours where it's not been happy hunting for bowlers. Ever since that Australia tour, you're looking at a seam bowling attack. There's something about Siraj that excites you as an Indian follower for cricket.
Yes, and you can see his natural calling when it comes to bowling is in this format, Test cricket, and there is some evidence of him being ideally suited for the longer format in the kind of Ranji numbers that he has as a bowler. He has an excellent record considering the kind of surfaces that we have in India. Excellent strike rate average as well. That's where he was better than Navdeep Saini as well, who is now way behind in the pecking order. And that's how Mohammad Siraj has actually gone ahead in this race for the slot in the fast bowling unit of India, is his ability to get wickets. And it's not freakish that it happens. I think he knows how to get wickets, which perhaps in white ball is something we never see. And maybe he doesn't have that temperament that you need for white ball cricket. That Joe Root dismissal also, I mean, the balls that he bowled to him before that slightly fuller delivery were all short. And when he bowls short, the ball seams. When he bowls it up, the ball swings. So it's none of his deliveries are just straight off the pitch, which can sometimes happen with Ishant Sharma. So there's lots to like about Mohammad Siraj. That's why he has this wicket-taking ability, a wicket-taking knack/ability, and that comes from him knowing exactly how to get to wickets. And that Joe Root was a real setup where there were a lot of short deliveries pushing him on the backward. There was one that he missed outside the off stump too, and then the ball that was much fuller.
All right. Now, after that, there's been a bit of a rebuilding of sorts from Ben Stokes and Johnny Bairstow. 9 4s and a 6 between them. Looks like Ben Stokes in the mood for a bit of a chat, for a bit of a hit as well. We'll come to that chat bit in a second. But Stokes looks like he's in the mood to play a few shots today.
Yeah, we talked about it, before in the first show. I think for Ben, I think what we've seen in the last 2 or 3 test matches in particular, with him trying to use his defence, trying to do the right things, but one of his strengths is his ability to attack, and that's what makes him a dangerous cricketer. I think maybe when I look at, say, Ben Stokes and a Josh Buttler with all the tools and shot selections they have, that's their strengths. If I was in opposition captain, seeing them trying to survive and defend, I'm relatively happy. So I thought that was good. The battle between him and Ashwin will be good. I think it's in his favour today on that pitch. Looks a good pitch, maybe a little bit of extra bounce, but it looks a good time to bat. So that'll be a fascinating one going forward. And there was a great battle, I thought, as well, with him and Siraj there towards the end. I thought, again, that was a cracking for Test match cricket. You're watching a fast bowler coming in and a batsman, a little bit of word, but I thought it was brilliant to watch Test match cricket. But from an English point of view, it was a good start from Stokesy. I thought the roadies look a little bit with a few thick edges, but being a bit more proactive, being busy, hitting over the top early, trying to put some pressure back on Ashwin.
Some uncharacteristically loose balls as well, or rather boundary balls as well from India, Sanjay.
Yeah, Akshar Patel. Finally we saw a little bit of a flaw in what otherwise has been an act of perfection in this series from Akshar Patel. So the only flaw and the possible sort of not weakness, but something that you can cash in with Akshar Patel as a batsman, to keep looking for that short ball. What's happening in this pitch is that his stock delivery, which is around good length, not too many of those are turning against the angle. So, the batsmen are more comfortable playing the line and with the bat. And when he's trying to extract a little more from the pitch, I guess that's when he gets a little short. And there are a couple of balls that he gave to cut. I like the fact that he will be comfortable in defense, because that is imperative. It's something that is mandatory if you want to play an attacking innings eventually, that you should be able to be comfortable in defense. I think in Chennai, first test, Ben Stokes showed that he can be comfortable against turn, albeit slow turn. And one thing that maybe English batsmen, especially people like Ben Stokes, would do is not charge the spinners on a turning pitch, not give the other option for a bowler to get a wicket stump, because if you just play from the crease, there is a good chance there'll be a free ball that are tossed right up. Those are the ones that you can go over the infield without stepping out of, like Virendra Sehwag used to do a lot, where he used to loft from the crease. And that's one of the things that you could do on turning pitches, and just sort of minimizing the risk in playing that kind of attacking game.
Isn't there a risk, though, Sanjay, of staying at the crease as well, with the way how India's spinners have bowled?
Actually, I've never believed, good footwork to be going down the pitch and trying to defend. Like Pujara does that, but it's not an ideal way to do it, because we've seen good batsmen, Rohit Sharma, Joe Root in the first inning, when Virat bats, they're never dancing down the pitch to defend or attack. You can dominate spin, and I've seen a lot of domestic, wonderful batsmen who played on turners like this and got loads of runs, and they're so good at getting to the pitch of the ball on the front foot the moment the ball was shot, and they rocked back on the back. So I'm not a huge fan of people suggesting batsmen to go down the pitch and try and counter spin. Ian Chappell likes that theory, because he was very good at it. But you can still dominate spinners from batting within the crease. But of course, there's got to be a lot of footwork, front foot and back foot. That's what I like about footwork more than dancing down the pitch.
There's a bit of spice in that session as well. Siraj wanted to have a go at Stokes. Stokes wanted to have a go back at Siraj. Virat Kohli can't be kept out of the action for too long. He seemed to have his way. It required two young umpires, Indian umpires, to just cool things down. Anything to read into that, gentlemen, or just good fun to watch, like you said, Ian? Perfectly fine?
Yeah, as long as it doesn't cross the line. I think that we're seeing two teams that are desperate to win, aren't they? England want to finish this tour on a high, and India are desperate to win this and go through to the World Test Championship. So I think it's, like I said, we want to see two teams going at it. I mean, England have been outplayed, haven't they? And I'm sure there's a lot of frustration within that England side, the way they've played in the last two Test matches. And from an English point of view, generally Ben Stokes has always been someone that's will stand up and fight his corner. And look, said for me, it was just about right. You didn't want it to go too far. But I enjoyed watching that contest. Certainly the fast bowling contest there with Stokes, I thought that was fascinating. So, nice little bit of spice to start this one. Like I said, it was a bit slower in terms of wickets, but there was still plenty of action going on.
All good, Sanjay?
Yeah, because basically these are three guys with that kind of nature. Nobody was being out of character there. Ben Stokes is like that. Virat Kohli, somebody who doesn't mind. It never affects his performances. And Mohammad Siraj, in the little time that we've seen him, we've seen that he has this knack or tendency to get your attention. So everybody was just being themselves, and the umpires were hovering around those people when it was happening. I was very curious, so I was trying to get in touch with one of the guys on the field to find out what exactly was said. But so far, so good. Just adds to, as Ian said, a bit of spice there. But these are performers who will not get affected by this kind of distractions.
All right. Well, we've seen a spicy contest on field. Will we see a spicy contest between Ian Bell and Sanjay Manjrekar, or will it be a lot more gentlemanly in nature? Let's find out. It's lunchtime on day one, and therefore it is time for our Real Me Power of 5. Now, for those of you that haven't been catching this very, very fun segment that we do, it's certainly fun for me. I don't know how much Ian Bell and Sanjay Manjrekar enjoy it, but I know that they will. I'm going to test their cricket IQ, especially with regard to India-England related contests. So if you're watching us on our live streams, just get ready, because this is going to be a quick Q&A with our guests. And I'm, of course, going to be using a clock or a stopwatch to make sure they answer in quick time. I'm very particular with my over rates, gentlemen. I'm not like umpires these days. They allow players a lot of leeway. And I've got my brand new Realme X7 Pro 5G here with 120 hertz Super AMOLED full screen display. So I hope you guys are ready. As I ready the first question, put your hand up. Remember, when I acknowledge you and start the timer, you may answer. Let's get our first question. And who was R. Ashwin's 400th Test wicket? Come on, drag back just a few days back. Who was R. Ashwin's 400th Test wicket? Let's see how closely you've been watching this series. Terrible, terrible. I'm very disappointed. I've already started the clock. Nobody? Oh, my God.
I'll go.
Yes, go for it, Ian Bell.
Ollie Pope.
I think you've got this wrong. Sanjay, let me give it to you if you want to take a crack at it. It's already past the clock, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, forget it. I've got no idea. I was just so focused on something else in that test match that I forgot to look at the victim 400 test. That's a shame.
Neither of you are getting a Christmas card or a Diwali card from R. Ashwin. It was Jofra Archer. When all hell was breaking loose for England's batting, Jofra Archer became Ashwin's 400th wicket LBW. So that was your 400th Test wicket. I'm sure a lot of you have got this right. I'm seeing that on our live comments. So well done. So it's 0-0. Sanjay and Ian cancelling each other out with not having cracked. Let's take question number 2. Let's see if it gets any better now, right? So Akshar Patel took a wicket of his first ball in both the innings of the pink ball test. In the second innings, it was Zach Crawley. Who did he dismiss in the first innings? Sometimes the toughest questions are the ones that have just happened. You tend to go back. Yes, Sanjay, I've started my clock. Please tell me. You're saying it's Dom Sibley. Well, the correct answer actually is, I'm going to wait for it. Let's go to Ian Bell. I forgot I could give him a crack. It's still within my margin. You want to have a crack, Belly?
I was going to go Dom Sibley, but Johnny Bairstow.
Right, so you had the advantage of knowing one incorrect answer, but that is correct. It is Johnny Bairstow. So Bairstow was welcomed to India with that delivery from Akshar Patel in this series. So it was Bairstow. So I'll give you a point. I'm not feeling good about giving you this point because you had the advantage, Ian, but you chose to let Sanjay have an unforced error. So I'll give you the 1-0 lead. It's not been very high standard this week. That's perfectly fine.
Because picking out questions from a test match where so much was happening and there was so much distraction from the actual, things like Jofra Archer being the 400th victim. Like people even now remember that I was the 400th Test wicket of Richard Hadley. So there weren't too many distractions in those times. It was all the focus was on cricket, you see. So if you pick out maybe events from another game, perhaps we would be better.
I'm very glad that even in defeat, you have given our viewers something. You've educated them. That's an excellent bit of trivia, which will hold all of you in good stead. That Sanjay Manjrekar was Richard Hadley's 400th Test wicket. Ian Bell, do you have any such milestone attached to you? And I'm amazed how batsmen remember this. I know bowlers remember this. They remember every wicket. Glenn McGrath knows all all of them. But
he was incredible.
Yeah, probably too many milestones of bowlers. There was a lot of bowlers that enjoyed bowling at me. So too many to probably say right now.
You're being too hard on yourself, Ian. For someone who played as many tests as you, you're being too hard on yourself. Right. Let's go to our next question, shall we? Question number 3. Which Indian cricketer who features in the fourth test made his ODI debut against Ireland at Belfast in 2007? Now, that should be a bit of a hint. We go back at 2007, and he's playing in this test. So, which Indian cricketer made his ODI debut against Ireland in Belfast in 2007? Timer's on my beautiful Realme X7 Pro 5G. Anyone?
Indian player, so it could be one.
Yes, Mr. Manjrekar.
Ravichandran Ashwin.
Ashwin is incorrect. Belly, would you like to have a crack?
I was going to go 2007.
Yes.
Rohit Sharma.
Yep. All right. You've got this one as well. It is indeed Rohit Sharma. Rohit Sharma.
Tactic, you see. I wait. I just wait back.
Yep. Wait and watch. Wait and watch your opponent fall. Eliminate one option out of 10, out of 11.
Dear.
Well, you still had a 10% chance of getting this right.
Damn good question, that.
Yeah.
Damn good question.
2007 it was just after that rather forgettable World Cup in the Caribbean, where a lot of changes were made, and Rohit Sharma was one of those changes before India embarked on that tour to England. We tend to remember these one-off Ireland games before a long England tour, as it wasn't.
I try and forget any Ireland game I was involved in. We try and forget. So, yeah.
Okay, let's go to our next question, shall we? This is an easy one. Go for it, Sanjay. It's very easy. Which England cricketer famously made 3-3-3 and 1-2-3 in a single test in India? Do I need to start the timer for this? Who's going to put their hand up? It's as simple as that. Belly waited
and
to see
another
if...
trivia.
Yes,
Another
please.
trivia on that was that I watched all those runs from very close quarters at Shortleg, because
Yes.
Mohammad Azharuddin had this thing about no matter what, he must have a forward short leg at all times. And I used to keep saying, that guy is batting on 250. You can perhaps remove me now from forward short leg and send me somewhere else. But he wanted to show the world that he was an attacking captain, so Sanjay Manjrekar had to be at forward short leg.
Wow. I don't think any statsman can pull that out, right? Has there ever been a short leg for a batsman who's batting on 200 plus or 250 plus? Oh, brilliant. So it was Graham Gooch. Excellent record against India. That triple 100 followed with 100 set records at the time. So that was Gooch as answer number 4. Let's go to our last.
England may have got 600 or 700 runs on that board, because I was involved in that test match. And I'm sure a lot of fans like this extra information that came. And Ian Bell would be interested in knowing that England may have got about 600, 700 runs. And we were in that phase of Indian cricket where I don't think, and this is something that we talked about, that's why I hope I'm right when I'm saying this, India didn't bowl a single bouncer at England throughout that whole innings. Not a single bouncer.
Wow. Okay. Part of Azharuddin's attacking tactics again, Mr. Manjrekar.
I mean, the bowlers, he didn't stop the bowlers from bowling bouncer, but I think it was Dave, Manoj Prabhakar, and Rajiv Sharma on a pitch that was pretty flat. Azharuddin himself got 100, that not a single bounce was bowled.
All right. Well, you have it. That's an excellent trivia again, isn't it? You had 3 seamers and you didn't have a single bouncer bowled to Graham Gooch. You would have welcomed that.
Yeah, I'm not answering questions, but giving.
I think this adds to the education. You don't care about the honors of winning this, Sanjay. You want to win the hearts of the viewers. You're a man of the viewers, aren't you? Right. Let's go to our last question. I'm trying to sugarcoat Sanjay's glorious defeat in this quiz to Ian Bell. Only 3 batsmen have scored a century in this test series so far. Rohit and Root are 2. Who's the third? Come on. Easy as you like. It's a half volley. Oh, that was close. Oops. That's my hooter. That's my hooter for who put the hand up. Yes, Sanjay.
Ashwin.
It is indeed our Ashwin. And that is the sound of the question going right. So well done. 106.
Parag knows the answer. It's such an easy question. He knows the answer as well.
Yeah. Yes, I have a companion who takes off whenever she finds something untoward. But she found that Sanjay Manjrekar just put her hand up. So that was her way of saying it to Sanjay. And with that, it looks like it's going to be 2 apiece. So well done to both of you, Sanjay Manjrekar and Ian Bell, managing to even the honors. Will it be 2 apiece in this series? Could that be a sign of things to come? No, I don't think that'll happen. But anyway, well done to both of you. And if you guys enjoyed that and you like your quizzing, then here's a shout out to all of you fans. Participate in the Realme Power 5 quiz on the ESPN Cricket Info Facebook page. Stand a chance to win the newly launched Realme X7 5G. Hope you guys enjoy that. It's a brilliant phone. So just head over to our Facebook page and do participate in more. Right, let's get quick final thoughts before our next session of play. Ashwin, you think he'll have a big role to play if Stokes is going to play this way, Sanjay? Was there any case of him coming on a little late in that last session, or was it understandable Kohli wanting to use his seamers a bit more? You expect Ashwin to come in right away?
Yeah, you got the impression that Ashwin could have bowled a little more in that first session. We are trying to use that one end where there is something there for the seam bowlers, and the seam bowlers got a wicket as well. So fair enough. But post-lunch, what's going to be interesting is that this pitch is slightly different. Where if you toss the ball, you tend to get a little more bounce. So this is going to require completely a different set of skills where you might have to toss the ball, and Ashwin then becomes more effective because it's got more fighting guide. Having said that, Ashwin versus the SG test ball, the red ball, we'll see how that goes as well. If the seam goes soft on Ashwin and how he, bowls with that kind of challenge.
Expect more of the same from Ben Stokes here?
Well, I think for England now, this is huge. 2 senior players at the crease, a younger, obviously, Ollie Pope next, and obviously a longer batting lineup. But yeah, this is huge. This partnership for England is massive. And I know we say it a lot, but that England dressing room will be talking about winning the first hour after lunch. And if they can do that, as we've said, the ball will get softer. It may get a little bit easier. But England, having won the toss now, have to do what they did in that first Test match and get as many now as they can. If this pitch on day 3 starts to turn back end as we expect, it'll be a lot harder. So they're going to have to make the most of the best bit now. And the 2 senior players, I think, have to do most of that for England.
I like that you mentioned that, actually, before we just part ways. Ben Stokes is always the center of attention, but Johnny Bairstow, as a senior player, 73 Test matches for him, big conversation on his inclusion and removal from the Test squad, now back playing as a pure batsman. He's a guy who's got the experience of playing in India, hasn't quite jotted up the numbers. This is, you'd say, a big innings or a big Test match for him as well, Betty?
It is a big Test match for him. I think, like I said, his white ball cricket, in particular his 50-over cricket, has been fantastic. It really has. Last few years has been outstanding. But his Test match cricket, again, he's obviously lost the gloves to Josh Butler and playing as an out-and-out batter. I don't necessarily see him as England's number 3 going forward in English conditions, but in India, he's one of our better players of spin. So it's a great decision. But yeah, for him now, I think it's a big Test match. If he can score runs, then he gives himself an opportunity to keep pushing himself back into that Test lineup. But as your senior players don't need to step up. Right now, it's good for batting, so hopefully these 2 will do that, and they've both got the ability to do so.
Is it reasonable to expect a lot out of Bairstow, though, Sanjay? He was part of this workload thing. He came in only after a couple of Test matches. All of a sudden, now here he is batting 3 against a spinner in top form, but at the same time, he's an experienced player.
Absolutely, and it seems like he has that kind of temperament to play defensively for a long period of time. I think he's got 100 already, maybe in Rajkot, I remember him and Stokes getting 100. So he's somebody who's had success on Indian pitches. It's really about how this pitch changes character. If it continues to be manageable, then you expect people like Bairstow and Stokes to make a difference. What I especially liked about England, and thankfully that makes for the series to be good and this Test match to be engrossing, is all the talk that's coming from the England quarters, where they're thinking about what a great win this would be if it happens. And I like that kind of thought, because you're thinking of a win, and also you know that it's not going to be easy, but you're still dreaming of a win, rather than just taking what happened in the last Test match and feeling second best already in this final encounter.
All right, we did get an 89, just fell short of 100.
89,
to get 100 in India, that was at Mohali. But Stokes, Johnny Bairstow does have a few half centuries in India. This is a big session for him. Big thank you, Sanjay Manjrekar and Ian Bell. Get your thoughts at tea time on ESPN Cricket for Matchday, powered by Realme X7 5G and X7 Pro 5G. 3 wickets for India. They'd take that. They'd like a few more in this session. It's sort of this time where the last Test match started, maybe just after this time. So as the day goes on, you'll see that maybe the spinners have a bigger say in this. Let's see how things stand at tea, and we'll get thoughts from Ian and Sanjay then.